go back and look at that. Jackie is like 8,000 years ahead of me in programming wise. So the stuff you said, I'm like, yeah, I can't even begin to look at it. And that's why I asked it to Jackie. But yeah, you want to go ahead and start walking us through
we can
process. We can any of us can share our screen. Would you rather have it you share your screen and we'll watch, or do you want to get, like, I'd say get Jackie to do it on his? But cool.
I'll give my screen and we can have a look through, and then we can see if you can repeat it probably. But so I did it on the V2 version, so I don't know if you should try the V1 version. Probably doesn't matter. Probably there are more settings, so I didn't test it, which needs to apply. So let's do the one I know it works, so which I did. So, like, do you download the AutoHotkey source code? This is V2 version, and then you simply copy it somewhere in your documents. Right, let me delete the old one. So we fresh. Did you try actually to compile it, or?
No.
No? Okay. So I probably need the list as well, because I'm not remembering everything of it. All right, the first one you just trust. Then you need to upgrade to the current version from the Visual Studio. So I just press OK. Then we need to set the AutoHotkey as a startup project. It's on German, so probably it's
just so so I better understand. Do you have to be in Visual Studio for doing this?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can compile somewhere else. So probably it's possible, but that's for sure the easiest way. And this is Visual Studio Community, so it's free for private use.
Okay.
So that's fine. So you've set up the project, and then we need to go to Properties and change the one to be the XP for all of the projects. Version and configurations. So just say XP. Could do the 40 or 41, doesn't matter. I didn't try the other one, but should be fine as well. And then the path for some stuff. So if you just want to make it easy, let me have a look so I don't miss anything. No, it was before, yeah. It wasn't that old.
No, it was one of those right in there. Yeah.
Probably the last one, or shouldn't be the last one. That was the list of the.
It was
So probably the one afterwards. No. Is it that old already?
I don't think, Jackie. When did I forward you that? Like Friday?
Which one of them?
The one with the instructions he wrote, and I said, "Can you follow this?"
Yeah, that must have been Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay. Saturday. And actually, so right there, just so I'm clear, because you said, like, can you, well, where was it? I saw a version. Maybe it was. Maybe it's not in this, but it said in the email or in the message, it said something about version 15 or 17. We're like, what was that even referring to?
Yeah, the 40 is the 15 and the 41 is 17.
But what is that referring to?
The Visual Studio.
Okay.
So when you go to Visual Studio Community, so there's a version 2.17 and 2.15, and when you install it, it can it asks you if you want to install the previous version as well. When you download, I think only the 17 is available. So this is the 17.
Yeah.
And when you install it, it asks you if you want to install the SDK for 15 as well. So because it's difficult to compile the previous one, I still use the Visual Studio 2.10 to install it or to create it, but it's not available for download easily. And with 17, it works fine. So
okay, thank you.
Problem. So we changed the platform. We did it in project check inherit. This is here from. And the last one, include directories, we need, in this case, is this one. So I simply search for the file which we need. It will complain when you try to build.
Yeah.
And then this is the file. I just search for it where it is and make sure it's included. And this is the debug version. It will for sure fail. Yeah, probably a bit. So it failed saying here the bug. The file couldn't be found. That's where the setting I changed. So if I go to release and do it, that should work. There are 2 or 3 files having a problem.
How did you know, like that?
Google it. So here is again error, link error. Right, the one I've now placed it there, so it wasn't there before. The proper min hook. I didn't download the newest one, so I need to download the min hook. But normally, if you have downloaded it, then you need to change the lib, because the standard one is for 2010, and here is 15 and 17. So 41 is the one we are looking for 32-bit. And I simply go and replace it. That's the one part I probably didn't cover, so we need to include it. Source, library, and tech. Now again. That one should have picked up from the path. Did I miss something? Yes. So this library process needs to be in library directories. So check. And now it looks to work.
What was that, sir?
The last one was the library path.
Yeah. I saw you add it to your path. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here we are missing another one.
Oh, okay.
Change the
And that's when you put the 32-bit one.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be complete. And this needs to be done on every. So if we go release data now, we need to change it as well. So at library pass picked up, and this one picked up. Okay. Now this is on release still. Yeah, it's not here. So if we do, yeah, I can do it from there. First, this one. And this one. Oh, forgot to do the standard tick. Inherit from the default. You can probably then see where the output files will be created. And there is more to cover because there are special things with the included libraries. So,
Hmm.
so then when this is created, right, I go normally and clean up and pack, which does include the that libraries. This is something we probably need to cover as well to explain how the AutoHotkey affects the libraries. So like HK thread is actually not something internal file, but it's a simple script, AutoHotkey script, and it looks like this. So it's quite simple. Here it extracts the file from the resources and create the standard functions list. And from here, when you run it, so it creates the loading the library from memory. You probably know the memory load library, which is one of the projects on GitHub. Then it goes through functions and creates the Bezdania call, and then starts a script if you want and returns the object. So very simple one, and that's where the multi-threading starts. Okay. So for compiling, this is kind of done. There isn't much more to do. Unless to run this compile. We can have a look if it will complain. We'll need to have all the files for it to be able to compile. So the x64, we need to repeat these steps. We need to download the proper minhook file to this one. Just apply the standard settings. So
Didn't you miss a semicolon there?
Probably, yes. Yep, thanks. Should have included it here, probably. Then it wouldn't happen. Okay. Normally I go to batch create and create the one, and then set up a standard. You just go and create them. Update. So then this script goes through all the exe and DLL files and adds the extra stuff, which is partly the library files, which we've seen before. So all these files, which appears like an included function, but it's not. So it's user function, and then it's also at the Win API, which is and the DLLs, of course, as well, which is the standard functions from Windows. We have here some errors. Oh, the x64. I didn't save it yet. Just download the REST hacker so you can see what's inside. After we compiled it, it works, or I can show you the other one. Come on. So should have finished, yeah, all fine. So now if I go and try to pack it, hopefully it won't complain. Go. For some reason this wasn't the proper one. Probably I have to replace it. Just replace it now with a adult. I think it was in B1. Oh, it was feed. But an older V2. Done. Okay, let me get the one I'm using. But anyway, we can have a look what will be after this. We probably will need to. I need to fix it so it can be done as well with normal one. So after this run, so here it includes all the libraries into lib folder in the resources. Then it has the Win API and the AutoHotkey DLL. It's all packed and compressed, so that's why you can't read it properly. And there's mini DLL and then the normal DLL. Right. So there we were with compiling. Okay. Any questions?
That was a lot for me. It was a lot.
Yeah. As I've never actually worked with Visual Studio before, it's a lot of windows and it's a lot of clicking around. I'm quite happy that Joe he actually recorded it.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
But again, of course, if you view it a few times, it becomes more clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm curious. So I'm a little confused here, and that is, help me understand. That created an AutoHotkey .exe executable, right, for the .h version.
Correct.
And then that is what, let's say we had thrown in our unique password somewhere in there. That's where when we use that to compile, it'll all be off of that original password. Is that right?
Correct. So when we need to change the password, we need to compile. And currently the password is here in the YouTube. Right, so it's here. Just it's an A and then some spaces or zeros and then U and so on. And here it simply multiplies the loop number with 5. So it starts from 1 and then 5, then 10 and so on, and reads the password. So it's a very simple one. And you would need to replace this one and some other places where the definition is, because it's a fixed definition for how many letters you have, and it also checks for the letters in the source. And this is something though, to have it really good passwords, this needs to be much complex. So not as simple as it is here, because it's very easy to hack it, because it's always in the same place and it just goes through the numbers and checks it, but you won't be able to open the exe file and find the password inside, you know. And what I did was the best method is to create the password from the source, so from the actual file. So make it a function, and the function will just simply receive the number, and then you read whatever you read within the file, and whatever letters come out, you choose it as a password. So it's really free for you what you come up with to create a password which nobody can simply find. And that's what I mean with dynamic password, because it can be whatever. Yeah, it can read an internet file where the password is set, and on the when you enter it, for example, give the username and password the first time you start whatever. So it's really, you have to be creative to make it sure that nobody can read your source.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we have actually seen the AutoHotkey source being compiled, Joe.
Yeah. And when changing the password, just simply search for this password stuff. So search it everywhere.
So and once you find what's there, do a search replace.
Yeah, so it's not search replace. For example, if your password is longer, you will need to have some more, yeah? So just copy, paste, and do 10, 11, or whatever you can call it what you like, so it doesn't have to be this name. And then continue searching, and here you set it into the array. So in our case, we would need to add here some more.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm following this. Yeah.
Okay. It looks like AutoHotkey.
Yeah.
And then in the end, you go to this checks, and here it checks. What is this doing actually? I don't remember anymore. It, so this number actually needs to change whatever your
okay. Right.
password is, how long it is. Yeah.
Yeah, get it.
Looks like it simply changing to number +1 for whatever reason. Or I did it to add 1 to it. Not remember, but that's it. So it's,
just to make sure I understood it correctly, because I had a different belief until you just the where you jumped from, where you had them all side by, or in a row, and you were showing how you'd have to add, like in here. So if I wanted it to my password to be Joe, I would change the end of each of the zeros to the first one would be a J, the second one would be an O, and the third one would be an E. Is that right?
It's something you simply do here.
Oh, you do it in here. That's what I was getting confused at. I thought. All right.
If it's shorter than 10 letters, then you can simply do it here. And let me have a look. I'm not sure if we have to do it shorter. Probably we have to.
Right.
Where do we set the password? Default. Somewhere I set the default password. No, it was there, actually, yes. I simplified it. And the one which is being given should be this one. We probably need to change the length of it. So here it would end here. And the 3 letters more. Four. So that would be it, and then we just to make sure, always change the 10 to 3.
Oh, okay.
Yes. There are 2 places for this. Or it's only 1? No, it should be 2. No, looks like there's only 1. Also, it's a V2 version, that's why on the V1 we had to. Yeah, that's it. And then when it opens the script, it checks if the password is the same. Util check. And here, depending, you see it multiplies with 5. You can do whatever you want. You can also put here whatever you want. It doesn't have to be 0. It can be anything. So it's just to make sure that the first letter is J, the 5th letter is O, and 10th letter is E. That's what it does here. It gets the letter from this array.
Oh.
And then it saves it in password, which is then used for crypt hash data and so on. All right, I remember now. Yeah, this one is just to check how long it is. So the here the array wouldn't run longer. So this one is checking if there is a proper argument passed, and if there is something in it, and as long as something is in it, it continues here. And then it saves the password. So it would stop after 3. Oh, sorry, it was here. So it writes something into this password, and then in here it reads from somewhere else the password, you know. So this is actually giving just 3 to loop 3 times. Probably this could be changed to make it a bit more clear, but it's from, you know, from the going out from you, I think it's something for the user. Of course, you have to know a little bit to make it more better protection.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, but for simple one, so nobody can read your password, it's as simple as changing it here.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, so you can also change from AutoHotkey to JHotkey, you know. It's so keep the 10 letters and just change it to something else.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, because in the end you are not going to enter it. Just to remember.
Right. I hadn't. Okay. You know, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me, but I understand. Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to be. You have the source code. You're not going to be trying to crack it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Good.
It's as clear as it's going to be for me. I think I followed some of, you know, a decent amount. But as Jackie said, it's like it's just going to take some trial and error. And
yeah, it was for me as well. Yeah, so with it's much easier now. In the past, it was very difficult to compile this stuff with all the settings in the past and so on. It's now really much easier. So the one which you had to do here on this to inherit the settings, to look for all the paths which you need for AutoHotkey, it was a nightmare, yeah. But looks like this one is really very easy, and it worked. And only this path was missing, which is for the MSV, so one of the libs which it needs. And this is also a standard path, which was also took some time to figure out which one is proper one by searching the files and looking what path is in there. So if you go, you know, you can go here and look for the macros, what they do. And for example, the library path, you can see where it points to. And I was simply looking on my hard drive where the files are, and this one was included here, so I just selected this one. I think there is resource paths as well, which would work, but it doesn't matter. No. Reference path it was, yeah. So this one would work as well, but libraries path sound to me better. So I've chosen that one. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing with this is, as soon as you have the compiled version or the version of H, and you compile a script with this, it would actually be protected by whatever password you choose.
Correct. Yeah. So you have to select the password when you compile, because that's what this saves in the script. So it's not saving it in the script. It's compressing the file with the script functions. And it first compresses the file with zip functions, and then to do encryption with the script functions with your password. And when the source, the AutoHotkey source here, reads it, it needs this password to be able to decrypt it.
Sure, right.
And then uncompress with zip, and then it can run.
Yeah. It makes good sense, and as soon as you've made a compiled version with the password that you would like to have, you're actually set to go to compile as many scripts as you wish.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And we can have a try here.
So the key is I'll just send
I knew you would say that.
Send them $100 and be like, hey, just make this my password and give me the executable and save me the trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's once you configure Visual Studio, right? That seemed to be the tricky part.
Yeah, exactly.
Once that's set up, then you can crank it out. I can see how I could easily change the password and create a new version.
That's the more difficult part to install. It takes some hours to install and configure and download and put it in the right path, open it, and so on and so on. Yeah.
I'm just thinking outside the box, just out of curiosity. I mean, would it be possible for us to have like this set up either on a server or on a remote computer where people could go in and update the password? Not like break it down where they can't break it, but they could just change it. Here's my password I want. And have it run and have it drop out an executable.
Probably, yeah. But I don't think it's really worth it. So in the end, you can do a script which can do this for you. But the compiling part is what needs to be done. Yes, if you could set up the server to do this, yes. So I don't know if it's worth the effort.
Yeah, okay. I just know when we talk in our webinars, often will come up about AutoHotkey, developing with AutoHotkey and the risks you run with people can decompile it in a breeze, and yet the vast majority of people that we talk to, I'm not sure they could get through doing this.
No.
Right. It's now maybe when we have it all documented, it can help a lot, but
they will spend some hours for sure, though, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Most will give up at this point.
That's right, yes. That's what I was trying to man, I'd love to make an easier way for someone like me that I could do it in an hour and not get frustrated, right? But anyway, it's still, I can see, obviously there's a lot going on here, right? It's very involved, so, yeah.
That's the point, so if you want to have a proper encryption and protection, it's not simple.
I mean, obviously, because otherwise they'd incorporate it into the main one, right? I mean,
to make it simple, I mean, it's still, you can't read the password, so if you go like this and say, I want to, don't care about this one, I just simply want to compile and nobody be able to read my script, then you simply use compression. Because this will already use the zip functions to compress the code. And it's not like you can extract it and depack with simple zip file, because it's a bit different. So this will be completely enough if you don't care about high protection.
Oh, okay. Man, that was awesome. Make sure, I'd say, mention that in the webinar, right? Of like, hey, there is a way you can do all this extra stuff, but here's one that if you don't care about too much, about advanced protection, this is the quick and easy way. Yeah, that's cool. Because I'm on board with that one right now. Just because I'm looking at that going, that was a lot to figure out, but cool.
So this is V1, so if you just select this one and make an Excel, and use the AutoHotkey 32. Let's select this one, doesn't matter. So we go just test it if it works. Right. So that's fine. And then do resource hacker. See what's inside. So somebody opens a script and want to get the data, they can't.
Cool.
It's not possible. And even if they extract this file and do try to unzip it, it will be really difficult for them. For a simple user, probably impossible. You have to be. You have to look in the code, find out how compressed it, because it's not a simple zip compression. It's some custom zip compression from the one zip files. So this is using like unzip Where we are? No, it's not that one. It's not this one. What was it? Not IT? No. So was it IO?
If you just had a hot string for that.
Yeah, I don't use it very often.
Yeah.
It's normally just saved there. So, and we have the zip ROM memory. This is the one it's using. So you can also read if you know the password, you can read the source code, not the source code, the resources, and use the files which you store there. So if you've seen the lib functions, also I'll just simply compressed to save some space. And if you want to read them, you would need to know the password. No, sorry, here is no password, just simply without password. Only for the source code, you would need to know the password if you have encrypted it. Right? So that's simple.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't know. I'm surprised to hear that you can do that. That's great.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah, all resources.
So this compiling window, that's for H, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because all of those options at the bottom there, I'm not used to seeing all of them.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll probably be good enough. Do you know if this compression does that protect against, which one was it? The one with I'm trying to remember the name of it. The payload decompile.
Yeah. It won't. Cannot decompile. Yeah. Probably we can check. I'm not sure how it works there, but it shouldn't be able to decompile it. Payload.
Because if the methods you can easily search for on AutoHotkey to decompile, if those are foiled by doing the simple compression, I don't believe anybody of my users or anything would
bother with the other one.
No. And again, I'm not really trying to protect it 100% like that. Yeah? But just keeping it inconvenient enough for.
Yeah, you'll keep out 99.5% of the people just by using that level. Yeah.
That's right.
And it's so easy to do, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
Not sure if that's the script which was used.
It probably is, yeah.
The original one. Decompile URL.
How many different editors do you use? I've seen you pop in between.
The Notepad, then this one, and Notepad++ normally.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep it all in one. It's too much. So this one, and Notepad mostly things. Also it's a GUI, so should be easy. Decompile exe here. So have a look. So it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Totally, because this one is normally the, I'd say the last resort, or whatever you'd say. It decompiles almost any type of AutoHotkey L file. So yeah, it's good.
And one of the users sent me from Russia version. They've created decompiler to decompile my scripts or my files, and Then I showed him how you can improve it by do the dynamic password, and then it wasn't able to decompile anymore. He was also impressed and never heard from him anymore. But you can do anything, you know. In the end, everything is possible. It's a computer.
Yeah.
You can, if you have enough time.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do everything. Yeah. Right. In the webinar, the most difficult thing I think is the multi-threading at all. You know, multi-threading is quite complex in itself. So wherever you do multi-threading, it's complex. And with AutoHotkey, from what I've run for myself, I make it as easy as possible. Yeah, with the functions. So it's still not simple for a normal user, and most of them don't even have a case use for this. So probably we don't go too deep into multi-threading in general. I just make some notes about it and tell that you have to look on the internet about multi-threading to understand more and what you have to be looking at and where you have to care about. Because there is a simple one. Let me have a look here on critical section, I think. Critical section, critical object. Because this is something already quite a bit to talk about the critical section, what it is and how it works and so on. I make it simple in critical object, so you can simply use it between the scripts. So this is the simplest example I use here, where you run 4 scripts and the main script reads the data which the other scripts create. They just simply run a loop and put an index into the object. So there are 4 keys, and each script gets another key, and they put their own loop index into the script. And as you see, it's really running very well and smooth and nice. And you can also see how the Windows is managing the priority between the scripts. So you can see the second one hasn't got as much power from the processor.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower than the rest, and the first one has about the same as the last one. Yeah. Yeah, that code is it's way easier to actually follow. That's for sure. And the what you have in HK thread, the stuff between the quotes, is the actual script code, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can very easily to just put a message box. It can be one even. Yeah. So if I stop it now, where is my stop? I don't have on this keyboard. And you simply put a message box here to see what your code is. Normally how I do it to check if it all works properly. So duplicate it, message box here, and run it. So here it's very simple. So it's something I've improved it as well. You create the object instead of normal object with critical object. If you want to have something special here, you can just simply include it here, and it will have this by default. And after, you can just simply pass the pointer of it to the thread, and you see here it receives the pointer and creates the same object from it. So they all use this thread safe feature, so nobody can access the object at the same time. They all have to wait until the other one finishes accessing the object, and then they can access it. And this makes sure no problem with multi-threading is created. Because normally when you do normal object, you can see it very quickly. This will crash very quickly. So we just do this back. No. At some point when it needs more memory, I think. So here it's even running fine. which is not normal, so it depends on your computer. I think how fast it is, it will be different. So if we do it like with a text file, so we just apply the index, this would for sure crash.
That's gonna be quickly big. That
already crashed, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you do it critical again, critical object, for whatever reason, probably I've done some error in the script. Should be fine. If I apply this, be different. Shouldn't be, but yeah. No. No reason. Don't know where my error here is. Still working like this. Yeah. But as soon as I do apply it, probably check. Looks like it doesn't even start. No, that does start, but then it's doesn't read the data from it for some reason. Very odd. Do it simple text. This works fine. Probably it gets very quickly too much. Let me kill this and do it here slower. So we do a simple slip afterwards. Loop. Okay. Here we go. So this runs fine. Just add the index. Stop, and then I do it without critical, and I think it should. Yeah, it's really with multi-threading. It can run even for years like this, and it will be fine. And at some point, it just starts going crazy and starts to corrupt the memory, and it won't work. But yeah, I think it's mostly when you write and read data. In this case, it's not that bad, but when the object especially get more items, it's being recreated, and then it's in a different place, and then it crashes. So, okay.
Yeah. This was actually quite easy to follow.
Yeah.
Multi-threading. Yeah, that was nice.
And we can go through a few quickly of the ones which I've wanted to cover.